As Shai Rasef rightly said, when you educate one person, you can change a life. When you educate many, you can change the world. With this phrase, I, Tushar Patel, Assistant Professor of the Department of Civil Engineering from the college Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari, would like to come across a new topic with air traffic control and visual aids from the subject airport engineering. Now today we'll study about the purpose of the air traffic control, flight rules. Then we'll study about the air traffic control networks, the air traffic control aids, and all other visual aids. So, by looking at this figure, this is the main air traffic control tower, which has a control cab, a junction level, a tower shaft, and a base building. From here, all the basic air traffic control has been done. This deals with the phase of air transportations and ensures safe, convenient and economic movement of the aircraft from one airport to the other airport. This is how the inside view of the air traffic control looks like. So by this we can see the whole runway, taxiway, the aprons and everything including the terminal building facility of a nearby airport. So my dear friends, what is the need of air traffic control? The basic need of an air traffic control is for the protection of life and property by avoidance of collisions through their protective rules and regulations for air traffic. Aircrafts must be properly constructed, provided with necessary equipments and maintained in a good condition. The pilot also must be well trained and licensed or certified to undertake flight. The air traffic control deals with that phase of air transportation which ensures safe, convenient and economic movement of an aircraft from one airport to another airport. The air flight from one airport to another involves the basic action. The aircraft takes off from an airport. It maintains a proper altitude in air. It navigates from point to point safely and it lands at a desired airport. So these are the basic actions that an aircraft follows. Now next we move across to the primary functions of the air traffic control devices. Now there are four types. First is the airport traffic control. It deals with firstly to guide the aircraft desiring to land or take off. Second thing, to control the taxiing of arriving and departing aircrafts between the runway and the apron. Next is the airway traffic control. This deals with the movement of aircraft along the air routes with adequate lateral and vertical separation to avoid collisions. This is particularly needed when visibility is poor. The third is the airway communication. It deals with conveying of airway and weather information to the pilot during the flight. And lastly, non-airway traffic control. This presents a serious problem when personal flying is done by a large number of people. Such type of flying must be regulated to prevent interference to the main air traffic. So what are flight rules? There are two types of flight rules for air traffic determined by weather conditions. These are the visual flight rules and the instrumental flight rules. Now what is visual flight rules? Also it can be shortcutted termed as VFR. So VFR may be described as clear weather flying. When the weather conditions are such that aircraft can maintain safe separation by visual means by the pilot themselves. Under VFR conditions, there is a very little or of air traffic control. Air control monitor intervenes only when apparent conflicts develop between aircrafts. Next is the instrumental flight rules. Now it may be described as IFR, also known as bad weather or blind flying, when the visibility is poor or the height of the cloud falls below the visual meteorological conditions. If IFR conditions in air traffic control personnel guide the safe separation between aircrafts. To avoid possibility of mid-air collisions at high speeds and density of traffic, IFR are prescribed regardless of weather conditions. There is a positive control airspace which is used where high-speed jet operate at airport radar service area as well as airspace at above 6,000 meters above mean sea level, in which jet fly from one airport to another airport. Now let us understand air traffic control network. The network for controlling the air traffic can be divided into three parts. The control within the terminal area, the control over airways, and the airway communication. Now one by one I will explain you all. First is the control within terminal area. Now this is done for the airport control tower which is located in the terminal area. The control tower is never center of an area. The Traffic Airport Control Tower ATCT is the facility which supervises, directs and monitors the arrival and departure of aircraft at the airport and in the airspace within about 8 kilometers from the airport. So it provides some basic services such as issue traffic control instructions, information to aircraft taking off and landing, issues instructions to aircraft taxiing from for the purpose of preventing collisions between the aircraft, issue advices to the pilots of aircraft when meteorological conditions which may not be known to the pilot, and start and plan crash and emergency procedures when an emergency occurs on or in the vicinity of the landing area. Now the second is the control over airways. Now Air Route Traffic Control Centers, also known as ARTCC, controls the movement of en route aircraft along the airway, jet routes and in other parts of the airspace. Each ARTCC controls a certain definite geographical areas, thus covering the entire area of the country. ARTCC is mainly concerned with the flights under IFR conditions. If radar facility is available, the minimum separation is 8 kilometers. Now lastly, airway communication. This is mainly done through the flight service stations. These stations are located at the airports and also along the airways. They give the functions as they give certain information to the pilots before and during flights regarding the weather change, navigational aids, airports that are out of use and the procedures at an particular airport. To relay air traffic control messages between the ARTCC and en route aircrafts. This is also another function given by the airway communication. So we need certain aids to visualize some effects under weather conditions. So there are air traffic control aids. Now during the flight visual rules, that is VFR, weather conditions, the flight is usually conducted by visual recognition of the objects on the ground. But when the visibility is poor, IFR rules are lowered. So during all the visibility conditions, the following air traffic control aids are always available to the pilot during the flight. They are the en route aids or the airway aids and the landing aids. So these are some of the types of en route aids. As you can see in the figure, airway beacon, low medium frequency radio range, that is LFMF, very high frequency omnidirectional range, that is VOR, Tactical Air Navigation, known as TSEAN, TACAN. Distance Measuring Equipments, those are the DMEs. Next is the Air Route Surveillance Radar, ARSR. And the last are the marker beacons and the direction finder. So I have tried to sum up all the figures in one PPT for your understanding of these en route aids. Similarly, there are landing aids known as ILS, that is Instrument Landing Systems, PAR, that is Precision Approach Radar, ASR, that is Airport Surveillance Radar, ASDE, that is Airport Surface Detection Equipments, and ALS, that is Approach Lighting System. So as you can see in this figure, you have the localizer antenna, that this all are comes under the airport surface detection equipment. Then you have the PARs, then you have the ASR, and lastly the ALS, that is approach lighting systems. Now let us move to some of the visual aids. Now, what are visual aids actually known as? The pilot is guided by the visual aids during landing and takeoff operations in day and in night in all weather conditions. Runway threshold, runway edges, and the runway center line are the most essential items which should be clearly visible to a pilot. In order to enhance the daytime visibility, runways, taxiways, and other allied structures, these are marked with lines and numbers. In a daytime, during poor weather conditions, or at a night, the visibility reduces considerably. It is essential to provide adequate lighting in the airport, which should convey the similar information to the pilot, as the markings do in a daytime. The different types of visual aids for the air navigation are indicators, markings, lightings, signs, and markers. Now, as we move across to the indicators. Now, indicators can be of many types. The two types are wind direction indicators and the landing direction indicators. Now, what are the wind direction indicators? Also, they can be called as the wind cone. As you can see in a figure, orange and white type of cone, these are known as wind cones. Now, they have a particular dimension. A wind cone is provided at an airport to indicate the direction of the wind. It is placed within a segmented circular marker together with the landing direction indicator. As per ICAO, that is International Civil Aviation Organization, the segmented circle should have an inside diameter of 30 meters and a panel width varying from 0.9 meters to 2.4 meters. Next are the landing direction indicators. These are usually in a form of T. It should be located in a conspicuous place on an airport. The purpose of the landing direction indicator is to indicate to the pilot the direction of the active runway of the airport. The shape and the minimum dimensions of the landing T are shown you in the following figure, and the color shall be either white or orange. Now next are the runway markings. Now there are many types of runway markings as runway designation markings, the runway center line marking, runway threshold marking, runway touchdown zone marking, the runway aiming point marking, and the runway side strip marking. Now what do you mean by runway designation marking? It identifies a runway by its magnitude azimuth. They are located at the threshold of the paved runway. As shown in this figure, please look at the designation marking. In the topmost figure, you have all the notifications of all the runway markings. As an example, these are the designation markings, the aiming point markings, the center line markings, the touchdown zone markings, and the threshold markings. Individually, the figures show you everything. The center line marking. How does the runway aiming marking look like? The runway side strip markings, the runway threshold markings, and the runway touchdown zone markings. These are the runway markings. Next, we move across to the taxiway markings. Now, all the taxiways should have a center line markings and runway holding position markings wherever they intersect a runway. All the taxiway markings are yellow in color. Following are the markings used on taxiway. These are the taxiway center line marking, taxiway edge marking, holding position markings on taxiway, and the taxiway shoulder markings. These figures show you the taxiway center line marking, the taxiway holding position marking, the taxiway runway holding position markings, and the taxiway edge markings. So this is how in yellow color the taxiway markings have been denoted. Next, we move across to the apron marking. See in this figure how you are able to see the apron markings. This is provided with certain guidelines which will help the pilot in maneuvering the aircraft on the apron. The marking is done with yellow paint. Usually, the guideline is painted to indicate the path of a nose gear of the most critical aircraft. The smaller aircrafts can also use the same path and maneuver without difficulty. Lastly, we move across to the taxiway shoulder marking. These markings are in yellow in color. It consists of 1 meter wide strips at a spacing of 30 meters and perpendicular to the center line of the taxiway. The strips are extended to 1.5 meters from the edge of the stabilized area. So this is how the airport lighting looks like. We have the airport beacon, in identification beacon, approach lighting, circle guidance lighting, threshold lightings, runway lighting, taxiway lighting, apron and hangar lighting, stopway lighting, wind direction indicator lighting, and landing direction indicating lighting. So these are some of the airport lightings that you can be able to see during the night time. These are the most important visual aids that are required for an aircraft flying at night to take off or land at an runway and other parts of an airport. Some more figures known as PAPI, that is precision approach slope indicator, shown in the above right. This is an indicator. Then you have the runway edge light, threshold light. Then you have the ALS flasher. Then you have the approach lighting systems. Lastly, you have the taxiway light and the barricade lighting. And this is the airport rotating beacon indicating a nearby airport in the nearby vicinity for an aircraft to land or a takeoff. This is how the original figure looks like at night. See the aircraft and the lightings on the runway. This is the taxiway lighting. See how the taxiway lighting has been moved. The green path shows you the taxiway lighting approach. These are the taxiway guard lights. Over here, this is the central line of the taxiway. This is how the runway and the taxiway have been indicated with the light systems, with the visual aids, and the aircraft flying over it has to control its speed accordingly with the visual aids and the air traffic control aids. So here we come to the end of the topic, that is air traffic control and visual aids. Hope you have a better understanding from this PPT. Thank you.